I want to start today by asking you, and yeah, I mean, you listening right now, a question that might be a little uncomfortable. Think about the biggest thing you're chasing right now. Maybe it's a huge promotion. Maybe you're trying to launch that side hustle. You can feel that, right? That fire, that
Maybe
ambition.
it's the engine. It's what gets us out of bed.
Exactly. But, and here's the real question, does that ambition feel like it's fueling you? Or does it feel like it's, I don't know, eating you alive? Because we have this idea, that ambition and just pure exhaustion are a package deal. If you're not tired, you're not trying hard enough.
Right. The whole I'll sleep when I'm dead thing, which, ironically gets you to the dead part a lot quicker.
Totally. But today, we are diving into a source that argues that whole narrative is, well, it's a lie. And not just a lie, but a massive strategic mistake that's actually making us worse at what we do. We're doing a deep dive on this really compelling talk by a veteran HR executive. She's been a VP of people, she's seen it all, and she's been very open about burning herself out
Right.
multiple times.
And what I find so interesting is that her perspective, it isn't coming from that sort of wellness influencer angle.
Mm.
She's not just saying, go take a bubble bath.
Right.
It's coming from a really hard-nosed, performance-driven business angle. She's looked at the data.
And the data is pretty bleak, isn't it?
It is. She cites a global stat. I think it's that at least 1 in 4 employees has experienced burnout. But she makes this one distinction that I think is so crucial. She says we have to stop confusing exhaustion with burnout.
Oh, interesting. I feel like most people use those completely interchangeably. I know I do. I'm so
Yeah.
burned out, it just means I need a nap.
Exactly. But her point is that exhaustion is physical. You run a marathon, you get tired, you sleep, you eat, you recover, you bounce back. Burnout is different. Burnout is spiritual. It's psychological.
Yeah.
She calls it the dimming of your light.
Wow, that phrase, that really stuck with me. Dimming your light.
It's evocative, isn't it?
It's
It's when
tough.
that thing that makes you special, that ambition, that drive, starts to feel like a huge burden. It's when you actually start to resent your own potential.
So the mission for this deep dive, it's not just how to work less, right? We're not talking about quiet quitting here.
Not at all, no.
Yeah.
If anything, this is about how to stay in the game for the long haul.
Okay. So we're looking for like a third option. Can we keep that fire burning without just burning down the entire house? Our source calls it sustainable ambition, which
Mhm.
I'll be honest, it sounds great, but the how is where I always get a little skeptical.
As you should be.
Because my brain immediately goes to, okay, so I just lower my standards, dream smaller. But she argues the key is boundaries. And I have to admit, when I hear the word boundaries, a part of me just rolls my eyes.
Why do you think that is?
It just feels so, I don't know, therapy speak, like a polite way of saying I'm not doing that. It feels like a barrier to getting ahead, not a tool for it.
You and pretty much everyone else. She actually tackles that head on. She knows boundaries have a terrible PR problem. We think of them as walls we build to keep opportunity out. If I set a boundary, I'm not a team player.
Exactly. It feels restrictive, like you're saying, I can't handle it.
But her big insight, and this is really the core of the whole model, is that boundaries aren't walls. They're containers.
Okay, a container. Unpack that for me. How does a container make me more ambitious?
Okay, think about it like water.
Mm.
If you pour a gallon of water on a table, what happens?
It's a mess. It goes everywhere. Ruins the table.
Exactly. It's just chaos. It's unmanageable energy. That is ambition without boundaries. It's just leaking all over your life, into your family time, your sleep, your health.
So the boundary is the cup.
The boundary is the cup. The cup lets you actually use the water. It gives it shape. She uses this other analogy I liked even more. She says boundaries give your ambition rhythm and pace.
I like that too. It made me think of a piano. If you just smash all the keys all the time, as fast as you can, that's not music, it's just noise.
Precisely. Music needs rests. It needs a tempo. So the whole argument is that setting boundaries isn't about doing less. It's about creating a structure where your ambition can actually, perform. It's moving from chaos to composition.
I buy the theory. Chaos to composition sounds great. But let's get real. Life is messy. It's easy to have rhythm when things are going smoothly. What happens when the world actually catches on fire?
And this is where she pivots to what she calls the hard truth. And I'll be honest, this part felt like a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah, she doesn't pull any punches here.
She just says it. You cannot do everything and avoid burnout. It's mathematically impossible. And yet, we all think we're the one exception.
She paints this scenario that is just so painfully recognizable. You're in a sprint at work, maybe 4 weeks from a deadline. Your calendar is a nightmare. You're barely holding it together, but you're also thinking, wow, look at me go. I'm a machine.
You're proud of it. You're running on pure adrenaline.
And then, boom, life happens, the inconvenience hits.
It's always going to happen.
The kid gets a fever, the dog needs emergency surgery, and that delicate balance just shatters. My first instinct, and I think this is true for a lot of people, is to scramble. It's to ask, okay, how do I fit this new problem in?
We try to optimize the wreckage.
Yes.
Yes.
We say, okay, I'll sleep 4 hours instead of 6. I'll take calls from the vet's waiting room. We try to be a superhero. But the source says that is the exact moment burnout is born.
Because the question, how do I do it all? It's the wrong question. Her answer to that question is simple, and it's terrifying. It's just, you're not going to.
Ooh, that is tough to hear. It feels like admitting failure.
It does, but it's the only reality. She says unsustainability starts when you refuse to adjust our expectations to our new reality. You're in a crisis, you can't hold yourself to peacetime standards, you're just spending energy you do not have.
So if being a superhero is out, what do we do? Just let all the balls drop?
No, you just have to choose which balls are glass and which ones are rubber. And she has this 3-step system for it. Step 1 is identifying your non-negotiables.
But see, in the moment, everything feels non-negotiable. The deadline is life or death. The sick kid is obviously non-negotiable.
And that's exactly why you have to identify them before the crisis. You can't be figuring out your core values while you're rushing to the ER. You need to have your anchor set when the water's calm.
What's an example of an anchor, according to her?
Well, it's super personal, but she gives examples like 10 minutes of meditation, no matter what, or, making it to your kid's baseball game. They're not nice to haves. They're the things that if you lose them, you start to lose yourself.
Okay, so I've got my anchors. I'm not missing the game. But the sick kid and the deadline are still there. The math still doesn't work.
And that brings us to the most painful part. Step 2, the trade-off.
This is where people will resist. I know I do.
Oh, absolutely. We hate trade-offs, but she's just adamant. You cannot manufacture time. If a crisis takes 5 hours and you protect your non-negotiables, that time has to come from somewhere. You have to make a cut.
And she gets really specific with the examples. She says a trade-off is, I am canceling my golf lesson, or I am rescheduling that dinner with friends, even though you feel guilty about it.
Or the one that really stood out to me was, I am not watching Sunday Night Football.
Even if it's the playoffs.
Even if it's the playoffs. And it sounds trivial, but that's 3, maybe 4 hours of time and energy. In a crisis week, that's pure gold. If you spend it on the game, you're taking out a loan against your sleep or your work.
It's an economic reality. You're over budget, you have to cut spending, you can't just print more energy.
Exactly. And that economic language is actually a perfect transition to her next idea. She thinks we need to start treating time like a resource. She calls it the time bank.
I found this really helpful because I am definitely guilty of what she calls being frivolous with time.
I think most of us are. We're on what she calls the hamster wheel. We're just purely reactive. An email comes in, we answer. A meeting invite pops up, we accept. We're just spending time because it's there.
She used this money analogy that really hit me. She said, think about buying a new car or even just a nice laptop. What do you do?
If you'd research it, check your account, you'd stress about it, you would feel the weight of that money leaving your account.
Right. But when someone asks for an hour of our time, which you can never ever get back, you can always make more money.
We just say, sure. We give it away like it's nothing. She wants us to treat a time commitment like a major financial transaction. Before you say yes, check the balance. Can you actually afford this?
And she offers this one specific question to ask yourself. And I've started using it, and it's kind of annoying how well it works.
The future me question.
Yes. Is future me going to be mad at current me if I say yes to this?
It just cuts through all the optimism, doesn't it?
It really does, because current me is a liar. Current me thinks, oh, next Tuesday I'll have infinite energy then. I can totally do that late night event.
But future me on that Tuesday is going to be exhausted and just cursing your name.
It's about alignment. If future me wants to be rested for a huge presentation on Wednesday, then current me saying yes to drinks on Tuesday is just... it's sabotage.
That's a great way to put it. You're not being generous. You are stealing from your future self. You're writing a check you know is going to bounce.
Okay, so we've got the mindset. We know we need the boundaries. We need to check the time bank. But now comes the really hard part. The moment where you actually have to open your mouth and say no.
To danger zone.
Yeah, it feels physically uncomfortable. It feels, like she says, cringe. We are so wired to be pleasers.
And it triggers that fear. you know?
Yeah.
If I say no, will they stop asking me? Will they think I'm weak?
Exactly. So what I loved here is that she doesn't just say communicate better. She gives us the literal scripts.
Hmm?
And I want to run through them because having the words ready to go makes all the
Let's
difference.
do it.
Okay, scenario 1. Someone asks for help. You genuinely want to help, but you just don't have the hours.
This is what she calls the partial yes. The script is, I'd love to help with that, but I only have about 30 minutes today. Is that enough to get us started?
See, that feels so much better than a flat no. You're defining the container. You're saying, here's what's in the bank, take it or leave it.
You'd be surprised how often that's enough. People will say, oh, 30 minutes is perfect. You've met the need without blowing up your whole day.
Okay, scenario 2. The polite decline. You just can't. There is $0 in the time bank.
Keep it simple. Don't over-explain. The script is just, thank you so much for the invite, but I already have plans.
And we have to be clear here. Plans does not mean a black tie gala.
No, plans can be sitting on your couch staring at a wall. Plans can be getting 8 hours of sleep. Plans is whatever you need it to be.
You don't owe them an itemized receipt of your plans.
That's the key. The minute you start explaining, oh, I have laundry and I'm tired, you're opening up a negotiation. But I have plans is a complete sentence. It's a closed door.
All right, last one. The big boss fight. Dealing with your manager. They come to you with a new, shiny project. You want it, but you are drowning. What do you say?
This one is the reprioritization script. It's the pro move. You say, that project sounds really exciting and I'd love to take it on. Right now, I'm at capacity with Project A and Project B. Which one of those would you like me to pause so I can focus on this?
That is masterful.
It puts the ball right back in their court.
You're not saying no. You're saying yes, and here is the cost. You are showing them the economics of your time.
Exactly. Your manager doesn't always see your whole plate. By showing them the trade-offs, you make them make the executive decision. And either way, you're protected. You've swapped, not just added.
You're forcing them to acknowledge reality. I love that. Now, after all these tactics, she zooms out a little bit to this massive generational shift that's
It's a
happening.
clash of the cultures. Yeah.
Uh.
She describes this spectrum. On the one end, you have Gen Z.
The generation that looked at hustle culture and just said, yeah, no thanks.
Right. She observes that they prioritize balance almost as a default. They are, fluent in the language of boundaries.
And on the other end of that spectrum?
Millennials and Gen X.
Hmm.
The groups that were, raised on the gospel of the hustle, rise and grind, the whole idea that your value is tied to your output.
So you have one group that's basically saying no to everything, and another group that's saying burnout is the price of admission.
And her argument is that neither extreme is the answer, that sustainable ambition is actually in the sweet spot, right in the middle.
It's not one or the other.
It's dynamic.
Yeah.
It's not never hustle. Sometimes you have to sprint to achieve something big. There are seasons for that push.
And this is the big but, you can't sprint a marathon.
Exactly. We hustle when the goal requires it, and we prioritize boundaries when we need to recharge. We have to stop seeing rest as failure and start seeing it as part of the work itself.
It goes back to that rhythm analogy. You need the quiet parts to make the loud parts mean something.
And eventually, if you're loud all the time, you just lose your voice. And that's the core message. A life with boundaries is a sustainable one. You have to give yourself permission to stop so you have the energy to dream big again.
Okay, so let's recap the whole battle plan. If you want to move from burning out to sustainable ambition, what are the 3 big moves?
Move 1. Define your non-negotiables and accept the trade-offs. Know what matters before the crisis and be willing to cut the equivalent of Sunday night football to protect it.
Move 2. Consult the time bank and future me. Treat your time like a valuable resource. Ask if future you will be angry about what you're committing to today.
And move 3. Communicate clearly with the scripts, the partial yes, the polite decline, the reprioritization. And remember that work, life, your relationships, they will never set boundaries for you.
That was the line that hit me the hardest. The world will not set boundaries for you.
It's a harsh truth, isn't it? The world is just this infinite demand machine. It will take every single inch you give it. If you're waiting for your boss to say, hey, you look tired, go home, you could be waiting forever.
Because only you know your limits. Only you know what you're capable of. If you don't build the fence, the default setting is just overwhelm.
And overwhelm is where the light goes out.
And that leads me to the final thought I want to leave everyone with. We've talked about tactics and scripts, but this is really about ownership. So here's the question to chew on. If you stopped setting boundaries right now, if you just opened the floodgates and said yes to every single thing asked of you, who or what would immediately take ownership of your time.
That's a chilling thought.
And what does that tell you about the price you're currently paying for your own ambition? It's a scary question, but if you don't answer it for yourself, someone or something else will.
And their answer is usually not in your favor.
Thanks for diving in with us.
Take care of that like. We'll see you next time.